tribe, Yvette the Card Girl. Welcome to my channel. Today, let's create some pretty card tags. These are really nice to have on hand, and they are also really nice to have for just those last minute gifts. They do a little bit of a double duty. You got your tag and you got your card. So here I created some in some different color schemes, and I was going to show you today was how I used the same products, and all I did was changed up the colors and how it kind of just changed them up a little bit. I know a lot of people love pink for the holidays, so we're going to do some pink and gold and some mint green, and that is what we're going to create today. So let's jump in and get started. We are going to be using the SCT Merry Christmas word die set from the Stamps of Life, and then we are also going to use the Peace and Joy holiday word die set from Stamps of Life. This plaid A2 background die. There is a create a tag set. We're not going to use this for our tag, but there is a little Christmas tree die inside of there, and it looks like this that I pulled from it, and so we're just going to use the Christmas tree out of that. The scalloped gift tag die set, the stitch dot ones. And the size of the one we are going to use measures 2 1/4 by 4 1/4. We're going to use the largest one in that set and then the next size. I'm going to start out with our tag. I did go ahead and cut them out ahead of time. We're going to take this largest die. You can see at the top there's a little straight edge here, and so this is going to be the actual card. So what I did is I put this in my die cutting machine, just like this. I'm going to turn it over and show you, and I just left a little opening. See, that way it's still connected, so it can be a card. And I ran through the die cutting machine, and that's going to give me my card. Then I took it and I ran it through one more time to give me the solid, the full scalloped that is going to go on the top right here like this. So the same thing, but I did it in the craft cardstock. Then I took that second die in that set and I made one small tag. And so those are going to be the tags that I'm going to use. Use that large tag, and I'm going to show you how I created this border here. So I took that plaid background die and I cut it out twice. I cut it out in gold, and then I cut it out in the bubblegum pink. So in these two, I'm using bubblegum pink and I'm using the mint and chip. And out of these two dies, you're going to be able to make 4 tags if you wanted to do it. And so what I did is I took the pink, just eyeballed it where I want it to off center in the gold. See that? I'm going to get some glue. And if you wanted your second card to have the gold behind it as well, just do the entire grid. You could do this entire grid and offset it. So we are going to now put this on here, and we're just going to offset that. Okay, and then we are going to cut that with our die. So then I'm going to take this die and I'm going to cut it right there. Okay, and I will be right back, and then that's going to give me this. And that's going to place right down on here. Because we didn't glue it, but just that little piece, now we've got our gold still, and we've got some pink. So we're going to take just this pink, take that same big die, and we're going to run it through. I'm going to go a little higher up this time because I want it to go a little higher up, and we're going to just cut that just like that. And I'll be right back. And then we have this, and then that's going to just lay right there. I'm going to go ahead and take my bubble gum, and in my mint chip I did go ahead and ink up my edges, and I'm going to ink this in bubble gum and just put a little bit of in there. Can you see how it just kind of gave it some depth? Same thing with this one. So that is our bubble gum with our bubblegum cardstock. So the next thing that we are going to do is we are going to then take this and take the top of our tag first, and we're going to go ahead and glue this down. And I kind of just get like some of my edges here and then in the between some, because it'll tack it down, no problem. It should line up pretty good because it is the same size as your tag. Okay, let's get our bone folder. And we will, I always like to burnish it on there to make sure it all tacks. So there we go. And so we're going to do the same thing with our craft card stock. Put that on. That looks really pretty. And then we've got that. So now we've got both of those. Let's set these cards aside for just 1 minute. We're going to take those word dies that I showed you, and on these ones I'm going to use the word Mary. So I cut it out twice. I did one in the Bubblegum, and then I did one craft cardstock color, and then I did the Joy in the Bubblegum, and then I did one in craft cardstock color as well. And this one I'm going to do the craft on top of the pink. This is however much you want to show. You can do it a little bit thinner, or you can do it a little bit thicker. So that's going to give us Mary, and that's going to give us Joy. You see on here, I splatter painted it. If you do not like the splatter paint at this point, just leave it and keep it solid. Or if you like the splatter, I kind of like the splatter mainly because I like the texture and I kind of like the vintage feel that it gives it. And I'm very much a vintage person. So I'll make a little bit of a mess, but I'm going to move these cards out of the way for a minute. And we are going to put these on our little scrap paper. Let's go ahead and move this. We'll put this down and this down because we want to splatter paint these. And what I used is this Dr. McMartin's bleed proof, but if you have some white acrylic paint, or maybe you have your white ink refills, and I just spray a little bit of water, so you can put a little bit of water down on your mat if you wanted. I kind of just put it in the lid of this. I take an old toothbrush, you've probably seen this in other videos, and I just kind of dab it in there, get me some white, see that? And then I just kind of mix it in the water. So obviously the more diluted, the lighter it's going to be. If you want it to be a little bit thicker, put a little bit thicker on there. So then I just take my thumb and I just splatter. And this is as little or as much as you would like. See that? So just do as little and as much, and it kind of just gives a little texture. And that is how I do my splattering. Didn't make too big of a mess. We'll wipe that down just a little bit so that we can bring this back in. I took the tree. So in this one, because my background paper in here, foil is gold, I cut it in gold. So we're going to put on our ribbons. So I did get ribbon, pre-cut ribbon, and I did it in the pink. The ribbon's about 16 inches. Okay, and we are just going to wrap this around. Cute little pink bow here. Okay, let's go ahead and put the bow on this one. So in the comments below, let me know, do you like your color scheme or your decorations to be very traditional in colors, or do you like more the pinks and the mints, the purples? There's some people that love blacks. I've seen a really pretty orange tree that was really pretty. I guess it wasn't like a bright orange, it was like a burnt orange, but it was still really pretty. So let me know in the comments. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and start with our solid one here that does not have the gold in the back, and we're going to put that second tag on. And this was more, you could leave it off, but this was more just to add a little something extra. So we're going to scoot our bow over to the side because we're going to go ahead and put this in here like so. And then we're just going to look when you're putting it on. You can kind of gauge about where you need your glue. You know, you don't want to kind of get it off on the edge. Okay. So that's going to get us our little tag. And then on our one here that has our gold, we are going to put our words on next. So we're going to start here with our joy. I want my bow in the middle of the joy, just like that. Okay, so when you lay it on your tag, you can kind of like gauge, okay, I don't want glue here or up here, so pretty much here in the middle. That's kind of how I do it. If you get a little bit, just use your towel and wipe it off. And let's stick this underneath this bow. Tap that down. I think these are so cute. They're just kind of fun to make. And another fun thing is you can do this really with any holidays. You can do them for birthdays, thank yous. So it can be used for anything. And I think I want this one to go right up in here. So let's put Mary like this. Let's varnish it a little bit. Make sure it's all down. Next, we're going to take those Christmas trees and we're going to adhere those just wherever you think you might want it. This one I think will look nice right here in the middle. This one we're going to put right here. Let's put it right there. Just like that. And there you go. See, now you've got your tags. So if you wanted to just make your tag, here's your tags. But we're not stopping there. We are going to now adhere the tag onto the card. But I'm going to put my liquid glue on this portion. That way I know where to stop the glue up top. Because remember, it's cut off just a little bit. Line those up. What's that? Crafty hair, don't care. Crafty hands, don't care. Okay, let's varnish that down. There you got your card. Let's do the same thing for the Mary. What's nice about these two is really they're not that big. And so if you have like a lot of scraps, anything that uses scraps, y'all, I am all for it because I got so many scraps. And so these can use lots of fun scraps. If you got lots of pattern papers, you might want to use a pattern paper behind here. I mean, the possibilities are endless, right? There we go. We've got two just like this. Got just some baker's twine in for our tag. I'm just going to double this up. And I'm going to open up this tag because it did cut through. So you do have a hole, which no big deal. We're going to run this through just the two here. Okay. We're going to run this through here. Bring it over here to the side. Bring these through to the loopy loop. And we're just going to pull those. And then this can tie on to your gift bag. Okay. Same thing with this one. How pretty is that? These ones are light enough that if you wanted to just write a message, you could. Got a really pretty Christmas stamp that you want to stamp inside there, you can. I did use a card here, and all I did is I cut just a piece scrap paper, 2 inches by 3 1/8, and then I used a corner rounder. I had this really old Creative Memories corner rounder, and I just rounded my corners, and I inked it up. And I put it inside so I could stamp something and write it because this is kind of dark to actually write on. If you wanted to just add that extra layer, that looks really nice as well. So let's go ahead and put this one in there. And then that's going to give you your tag. So here we've got our Cranberry and Midnight with gold. We've got our Bubblegum and Mint with gold. And then we've got a pretty Pansy and Pixie with some silver. So that, my friends, is card tags that are easy to make, have on hand when you're in a pinch and you just need a quick card and tag. This is the double duty for you. I hope you enjoyed it. And I will see you next time in the next video. And until then, happy crafting, and I'll see you soon. Don't forget, big thumbs up is always welcome, and I'll see you later. Bye.